Boxing has always been a sport of glory and chaos. It is raw, immediate, and brutal.
That was a terrific shot. Yes, more. Another one.
And three more. This is big stuff from George Grove.
But unlike the other sports, where one team is champion at the end of the season, boxing has 4 major belts, 4 claims to greatness in each weight division. Each belt has its own story, shaped by politics, ambition, and fighters who etch their names into history. Along with being a symbol for something greater than just a leather strap with some gold on it. To understand the state of modern boxing, we must first understand the belts, their origins, their controversies, and the legends who carried them. Boxing in the early 20th century was chaotic. Champions could exist simultaneously in New York, London, or Buenos Aires, each claiming to be the world champion.
And down goes Colten. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's up just in time. And Dempsey goes after him and down again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's trying to get up. 8, 9, 10, and out. And Jack Dempsey remains heavyweight champion of the world.
The sport was full of disputes, and the lack of a standardized system made it difficult for fans and fighters to know who truly reigned supreme. In 1921, a group of American boxing officials came together to address this chaos, and the National Boxing Association, or NBA, was born. Their mission was straightforward but ambitious for the time. Recognize a single champion per weight class, establish rankings, and bring some much needed order to the sport. The NBA's first major test of authority came with Joe Louis.
Maxie Bear, former heavyweight champion, meets Joe Louis, the young sensational brown bomber.
A young African-American fighter from Alabama. By 1937, Louis had fought his way to the heavyweight championship, a title he would defend a whopping 25 times over the next 12 years.
Left hook to the stomach, doubles up Sharkey, and a left hook to the head. Sharkey is on his way out. The right uppercut and a left hook. And down goes Jack Sharkey for the last time against Joe Louis. And now the fight is to be stopped.
Each defense was a statement of legitimacy.
Three lightning left hooks to the jaw. The bell saves Maxie for the second time. The first left hook is quickly followed by a second. Before Bear can even get his hands up, Louis slams 2 shots home in just the flash of a moment.
Before we jump back into the action, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, you. We need your support to keep making the content about the sports we love. That's why we've launched the Modern Martial Artists Patreon. There, the team is bringing you 3 patron-exclusive videos each and every month. From video topic polls to watch parties, there's something on every tier to check out. But if you like what we do and want to see even more, sign up for the Modern Martial Artists Patreon today.
The Brown Bomber was proving the NBA's authority to the world. Louis became a symbol of hope and pride during the Great Depression and World War II, which was a dark time in the world. After his rivalry with German boxer Max Schmeling, framed as an international showdown with tense implications.
The Brown Bomber off Max Schmeling's jaw. Max starts to sink to the canvas. Joe wants to finish it here in round one. An explosive right sends Schmeling to the canvas for the first time.
It solidified the NBA as the championship belt at the time. The organization would eventually evolve into the World Boxing Association, the WBA, expanding beyond the United States and reaching a global audience, but the road was far from smooth. Fast forward to 1967. Muhammad Ali refused induction into the US Army during the Vietnam War, citing religious and moral reasons.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Muhammad Ali has just refused to be inducted into the United States Armed Forces.
It has been said that I have two alternatives: either go to jail or go to the army. But I would like to say that there is another alternative, and that alternative is justice.
The WBA decided to strip him of his titles and awarded them to Jimmy Ellis.
I don't need the WBA. Everybody asks me about the WBA, and the WBA is nobody to me. They made themselves look like fools in the eyesight of the intelligent world by taking the title.
Fans and historians debated the fairness of this decision. Ali's supporters argued that the organization had prioritized politics over sport. Yet, Ali would return to the ring, and in doing so, he would demonstrate that charisma, skill, and perseverance could outlast any bureaucratic decision. Over the years, the WBA introduced multiple belts with a single division, the Super, Regular, and Interim titles. Critics argued this diluted the championship, but the WBA defended it as a way to accommodate emerging talents and maintain global competition. Through controversy and evolution, the WBA belt became a symbol of lineage, history, and the enduring fight to define legitimacy in the world's oldest professional combat sport. By the early 1960s, boxing had grown into a massive global sport, yet no organization fully captured the international stage. In 1963, a group of 11 nations gathered in Mexico City with a vision to create a truly worldwide governing body. And this was the birth of the World Boxing Council, the WBC. Unlike its predecessors, the WBC emphasized authority, prestige, and ceremony. Its iconic green belt, adorned with gold and the flags of the membered nations, wasn't just a trophy. It was a symbol of global unity and recognition. The WBC quickly distinguished itself as a forward-thinking and evolving group by pushing both fighter safety and spectacle. In 1982, tragedy struck. Duk Koo Kim, a 23-year-old South Korean boxer, collapsed after a grueling fight with Ray Mancini in Las Vegas. Kim died in the hospital days later, and the boxing world was hit hard. The WBC responded quickly and decisively to this horrific tragedy, reducing championship bouts from the original 15 rounds to 12, and also introducing stricter medical examinations and implementing mandatory recovery periods between fights. Sugar Ray Leonard, another icon of speed, power, and charisma in the sport, captured the WBC Super Welterweight title in 1979. His famous 1980 rivalry with Roberto Duran, the legendary fighter known as Manos de Piedra, Hands of Stone. After a grueling first fight, in which Duran narrowly won the green belt from Leonard, in the rematch, Duran Duran famously said, "No mas," and quit, surrendering the fight in his corner after the 8th round. Leonard's WBC belt was a theater of human emotion, strategy, and endurance in a time when boxing was the center of peak drama and athleticism. In the heavyweight division, Mike Tyson carried the WBC belt into the mid-1980s, capturing attention with his ferocious power and speed. Tyson's rise was another cultural phenomenon. His dominance made the belt synonymous with prestige and global recognition. The organization's ability to combine safety reforms, visual branding, and global legitimacy set it apart from the other sanctioning bodies. Even controversies enhanced the WBC's influence. In 1978, Leon Spinks defeated Muhammad Ali in a stunning upset. The WBC prioritized mandatory challengers, stripped Spinks of the belt, and awarded it to Ken Norton, but the incident showcased the WBC's role in shaping careers and the history of the sport. The iconic green and gold belt carried the legacy of the sport for years, giving fans fights that were safer, events that were larger, and champions whose names would last the test of time. The WBC cemented itself as the most glamorous and recognized belt in the history of boxing. By the early 1980s, the boxing world was fractured. Fans, fighters, and promoters were frustrated with the politics of the existing sanctioning bodies, creating headaches to put on the best events and match the best fighters. The multiple belts for the WBA caused a lot of confusion. The WBC rules sometimes felt arbitrary, and controversies were mounting behind the scenes. Bob Lee, a former WBA official, stepped up with a vision: create an organization that promised transparency, strict enforcement, and a merit-based ranking system. In 1983, the International Boxing Federation, the IBF, was born. At first, the IBF was dismissed early on by boxing establishment, being labeled a rebel belt with little prestige. The first fighter to embrace the IBF's legitimacy was Hall of Famer Larry Holmes, the reigning heavyweight champion. Holmes, known for his precision jab and strategic mastery, relinquished his WBC title to accept IBF recognition after contract disputes with the notorious boxing promoter Don King. The move signaled a turning point in the sports landscape. Suddenly, the IBF could claim legitimacy, and fighters began to take its rankings seriously. In 1984, Holmes defended the IBF belt against James Smith with clinical precision, using his famous jab to control the fight and set up a TKO victory in the 12th round. The bout was the first IBF heavyweight title match and a statement that the belt was a fresh, competitive landscape for the sport. But the organization's reputation would later be tested. In the late 1990s, Bob Lee became involved in a scandal, indicted for accepting bribes from various promoters in exchange for favorable fighter ranks. The revelation shook the boxing world and threatened the IBF's credibility. Fighters, fans, and journalists questioned whether the organization could be trusted. Yet, the IBF survived, implementing reforms that reinforced its commitment to transparency and fairness. Champions like Bernard Hopkins leveraged the IBF's strict enforcement. Hopkins, a tactician inside and outside the ring, knew that navigating the IBF's rankings and mandatory challengers was as challenging as his opponents standing in front of him. When he unified the middleweight division in 2004, holding the IBF along with the WA, WBC, and WBO belts, it was a testament to his understanding of boxing, politics, and created a blueprint for champions to follow his path. The IBF emerged from dissatisfaction, challenged established norms, and survived scandals to become a pillar of today's four-belt era. Fighters who hold the IBF belt today carry a symbol of both struggle and validation, a reminder that boxing's authority can still be earned through rules, ranking, and resilience. In the late 80s, the boxing world was dominated by three major sanctioning bodies: the WBA, WBC, and IBF. Fighters and fans had come to recognize these belts as the standard of championship legitimacy. But in 1988, a new sanctioning body emerged in Puerto Rico, the World Boxing Organization, the WBO. At first glance, the WBO was dismissed by much of the boxing establishment. Many regarded it as a minor belt, a newcomer without history or prestige. Yet, the WBO had an ambition to establish a transparent ranking system and create opportunities for fighters outside the politics of the older organizations. Initially, the WBO's champions were primarily European and Latin American athletes, and the organization's recognition was limited to those regions. Fighters who held the WBO belt often faced skepticism. The tide began to turn in the 1990s, thanks to a large part to fighters who defended the WBO with skill and consistency. Chris Eubank, a charismatic British middleweight, brought attention to the belt with a dramatic style and flamboyant persona. His rivals such as Nigel Benn, Michael Watson, and Steve Collens showcased the legitimacy of WBO competition. But it was Joe Calzaghe, the undefeated Welsh super middleweight, who truly transformed the WBO's reputation. By the early 21st century, the WBO had fully entered the mainstream of the sport. Fighters no longer shied away from being associated with it, rather, it became a strategic route for global recognition. It came to symbolize resilience, opportunity, and legitimacy, the underdog who rose to stand alongside the sport's oldest and most prestigious titles. Its journey from obscurity to prominence mirrors the stories of long-shot fighters who carried it. Holding a single belt in boxing is a career-defining achievement. Holding all four, that is what makes a boxer a legend. The era of four belts has also brought dramatic narratives outside the ring. Negotiations for fights often involve rival promoters and broadcast networks that bring human ego into the equation, making it difficult to get anything done. The media and fans scrutinize every decision as well. A fight may be ready to unify, but logistical and political hurdles can delay or even cancel bouts. Or even cancel monumental bouts. This added layer of tension transforms unification fights into stories of intrigue as well as athletic achievement. The story of boxing is, in many ways, the story of its belts. The WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO are reflections of history, politics, culture, and the pursuit of greatness in sport. Each belt tells a unique story, yet together they define what modern boxing is today. Together, the four belts are boxing. They have created opportunities for fighters, shaped careers, and produced some of the sport's most iconic moments on the biggest stages. They have also introduced complexity, multiple belts, sanctioning fees, and political maneuvering. Yet this complexity is part of the boxing narrative. The pursuit of an undisputed championship, holding all four belts, is now the ultimate testament to greatness. Fighters who achieve this status leave a legacy that transcends wins and losses, becoming benchmarks for future generations. For fans, the 4 belts provide both drama and history. Each belt carries a story, and each fight is a chapter in boxing's ongoing saga. They remind us why boxing endures in our culture. It is a theater of human ambition, resilience, and provides a narrative for fans to get behind. In the end, the 4 belts are more than leather and gold. They are symbols reflecting the triumphs, controversies, and evolution of the world's oldest and most compelling sport. They connect past generations, honoring champions who built the sport while challenging the next champions of the future. And as long as fighters step in the ring, chasing glory, the WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO will continue to define the legacy of boxing itself.